I've been toying around with a few different project ideas for a few years now. I've been collecting a list of different ideas in my phone. One of those that I really wanted to do was to go to a place called Rollag, Minnesota, and photograph the Western Minnesota Steam Threshers reunion. It is an event that I went to once when I used to live in Fargo, North Dakota. Essentially, it's just a gathering of individuals whose hobby it is really to restore and operate old machines, old tractors, old steam engines. And so a steam thresher is essentially just a locomotive on the ground that can run like a tractor and do work. There's very few places that I've been to that really feel like traveling back in time. Not only are the machines old, but a lot of the operators dressed in period clothing, so just really fun to walk around. I really enjoy photographing people, and one of the ways that I approach my subjects is often go up and strike up a conversation. One of the things that I loved about the Western Minnesota Steam Thresher reunion is that everyone was super friendly, kind of that, Midwest nice, but also just super excited to talk about their machines, what they do, how their machines operate, the type of work that they do to maintain it, and also that a lot of these machines have been in their families for the last 100 years and have been handed down generation to generation to new operators, and they operate and maintain their equipment with a lot of pride. So I wanted to go through my photographs and my approach to photography and some of the things I was working on as part of this project, which I really envisioned kind of developing into more of a long-term project and looking for similar events in other places, and also going back to this particular show to photograph some more in the future. So starting off, you can really see just how impressive some of these machines are. Even though a lot of these machines are over 100 years old, they still operate like they do or did when they were new. They're just so well maintained. One of the first places that I stopped by was this old sawmill. Everything is steam operated, and the whole facility. So from the saws and these sleds that move back and forth to cut the wood, it's just really impressive to see just how people used to work 100 years ago, and also to appreciate how far we've come over the past 100 years. There's also some really impressive machines that are just extremely large engines, just fascinating to see how they work. And even though they were engineered and built so long ago, that they still run and run so smoothly. So it's really impressive work, and just impressive to see that these machines were able to be built and operated and designed back then. Another really cool thing to see at the show were some of these steam shovels that still can dig. Obviously they're not as mobile as the machines that we're used to today, but just really impressive to watch and see how they work, to appreciate how things like this could be run on steam. So when it comes to my work, I tend to gravitate towards taking photographs of people and portraits. That's really what I like to do. But as part of my travels and just working on photography, I was also really trying to focus on taking some detail shots as well, almost B-roll, if you would, for photographs, taking pictures of other things that are just part of the environment to help capture the experience and tell the story. One of the other really interesting things about the show is that it's not just focused on steam threshers, which are essentially tractors, which we'll get to here later in the video, but also just anything that was running on steam. So these big boilers are an example that would run whole factories. This boiler was running, I believe, a printing press on the inside of the building. But the other really cool thing about this particular boiler is that it has a really large whistle on top, which is the same type of whistle that they had in the Titanic, which is one of the loudest whistles ever built. Another really interesting part of the show is that these machines are all fully functional and really do operate like they did when they were first invented and built. And as part of the show, they do demonstrations of the steam threshers running in the field, doing the type of work and operations that you would have seen them doing 100 years ago. In this example, doing some tillage out in the field. Just amazing how powerful these machines are. Watching these machines run and the people work on and maintain the equipment really did feel like stepping back in time. A lot of these machines have been handed down generation to generation, and you have members of the family that are now owning and operating this equipment. And it's really great to see kids as well that are part of the experience and learning from their own parents and or other family members how these machines work and how to maintain them. And it's just the pride that a lot of them have in the equipment that's been handed down through their family. One of the last things that I did was called a spark show, which they do at night. They run the steam threshers at full bore, and they shovel sawdust into the insides of it. So it goes through the flues and then out the top and just makes these sparks. And that was something that I really wanted to capture, and I really wanted to capture a unique way of showing that. And so focused on doing a longer exposure time to really see the movement of the sparks as they came out of the engines. So overall, I really loved my experience, one, in being at the show and taking pictures that really feel nostalgic and old, even though I'm photographing this in 2025 on modern equipment. I also really enjoy shooting film, and so one of the things that I wanted to do or explore doing is going back to the show and experiencing that with more period equipment, with maybe a large format camera, and taking some pictures on large format film of the people and equipment and machines. So that's part of maybe how I see this project developing and growing in the future. I really look forward to going back to the Western Minnesota Steam Thresher Reunion. If you haven't been to a show like this, it's really cool, especially if you appreciate machines and old equipment and just being around people who are so passionate about what they do. If you found this video interesting, I'd love to have you follow along with this project and the others that I'm working on. Please feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.